So thank you for joining me. I have zoomed in here to something in Second Timothy chapter 4. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, I have three examples that I want to share with you. These are vague, but they are personal examples from my life. You'll see why I'm sharing this passage from Second Timothy in just a moment. So thank you for joining me. So, many years ago, I heard about this veterinarian who spoke a lot about nutrition and how it affects the body. He was on multiple radio syndicated shows. I heard him speak multiple times over 6 months to a year, probably longer. When you try to find this gentleman on the internet now, the internet is scrubbed. There is no information on him anywhere to be found on the internet. Yet I heard him multiple times. He existed. His story was real. I heard it. Here's another example. I personally own a VHS tape. So, VHS tapes during the 80s and 90s, the early 2000s, VHS tapes were used. I physically own a VHS tape on a documentary. And when trying to purchase a DVD of this documentary, the documentary doesn't exist according to the internet. But I have it. It's a controversial topic, but I actually have the VHS tape. But if you try to search for it, there is absolutely nothing on the internet about it. Everything is on the internet, but this has been scrubbed. And lastly, although I don't own this book, I have tried to purchase it. I have seen this book. I've held this book in my hands. A previous employer had this book, and it was a book from a doctor who basically said there were alternative methods to treating people with cancer. Now, I don't know anyone personally that used him, but I know people who knew people that used him personally. And this particular doctor, of course, was sort of not allowed to practice in the United States, went to practice in another country, and instead of a 3-month death sentence, somebody could live 10 years using these alternate methods. When trying to purchase this book online, it doesn't exist. Yet I've seen it, I've held it, I've looked at it. The book does exist. Now, these three examples are things that have been scrubbed from the internet. Why? Is it because alternate information is dangerous, or is it because they don't want you to have this alternate information? Now, this brought me to the passage in 2 Timothy chapter 4. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. Be careful. You have heard something that is true that may be scrubbed from places where you get your biblical information. You need to have God's word in your heart. So when that information is removed, when that information is scrubbed from an online Bible by chance, you have God's word in copy and in form that you can read, because I am not convinced, based upon these three examples, that there won't be a time when God's word has been altered electronically to say something else that God never said. Because people do not necessarily want to do the work for themselves. They want to hear something that is easy. Have God's word in your heart. Know explicitly what it says. Have an actual physical copy of the Bible, because these stories that I tell you are absolutely legitimate. They are absolutely true. There are things that are scrubbed from the internet. And what that means is the internet says it doesn't exist, yet I know that it did and that it does. Armor up, we ride at dawn. May God bless you as always. Have a great day.